Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. Oh, my goodness, I'm losing my voice.
That's
Sorry,
Nat.
y'all.
That's Nat, and I'm Z.
Right. Sorry, y'all. What's up, Z?
Nothing. It's daylight savings, which means spring should be around the corner. However, the weather
That part.
makes us believe that it's still January from the snow. So
Depending on what day, because the other day it was July.
Yeah,
right
it was.
before it turned into January.
yes,
It was like 67, 70 some degrees, and then it was like 30 and snowing.
yes.
It's like, what's that movie? Where it's like the end of the world, day after tomorrow, where it's all sunny one day, and then it's like snowing and freezing the next, and then it's like the end of the world.
Well,
I'm not really trying to. I'm not trying to say.
Thank you. That's a great way to start my Sunday. Apocalypse talk.
All I know is when stuff starts going off like that, it just makes you pause. And there's global warming, by the way.
But
there is
March
global warming.
tends to be a bit of a temperamental month, though.
True, especially for this area.
Yeah, it's a bit temperamental, so it's almost to be expected. Almost to be expected.
Well, hopefully it'll get on and leave us alone for a little while and get on with spring, according to Poxitani Phil or whichever one of them dudes.
Oh, let's
Groundhog
hope.
people.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
let's hope. But I don't know. I like clear definitions of the seasons. I like 4 seasons. I like to know when winter begins and ends, when spring begins and ends, when the summer begins and ends, and when fall begins and ends. All this shit blended together is upsetting me and my home girls.
Well, hopefully it'll stabilize and the summer will just be somewhat normal and not like...
Let me tell you, the summer in this area is the absolute worst. And I think it's the worst because let me tell you something. I've probably said this multiple times. I am not a summer girl. Hot girl summer would never work out for me because I don't like hot and I don't like summer. But summer is not my favorite time of the year. I don't like being hot. And DC is hot and then muggy. It's like you could cut the air literally with a knife because it's so thick.
Yeah, you're just kind of sitting there like, ugh.
It's disgusting. And I don't like it.
Can y'all tell that she does not like it?
I don't like summer.
You feel it in her voice. It's like the visceral.
I just don't like it. Why do you, even though I like the clear delineation of the seasons, why do you need summer? If you want warm weather, just go somewhere where it's warm.
What do you mean, why do you need summer?
Just take your ass to an island. Okay?
I'm not independently wealthy as yet, so I'm not able to do that. So I have to enjoy it when it comes.
Well, summer makes me feel like I need a drink in my hand at all times. And I can't. But I can't because I'm on the metro. Going to work.
That's what coffee cups are for.
Oh, and that's true. But the other issue is, in this area, I haven't done it in years because pandemic, but it'll be 98 degrees outside and you get on a metro and depending on what car you on, that car will be 150 degrees.
Facts. And then everyone was close up on you.
I hate summers in DC. Okay?
Y'all, I'm clutching my pearls over here.
Passionate about that, okay? I'm opinionated about these things.
She's quite passionate. You say that with such conviction.
I know. I need you to understand.
Touché. Well, all right, y'all. So today we're talking about staying in your lane. So we all know how that goes. See?
Some of us don't know how that goes. Some of us are habitual line steppers and don't understand how to stay in a lane.
They're like, lane? What is that? I'm sorry. I don't. This is an open field
right.
for me to cross against all over the place.
Yes. So, with that being said, we're going to get into what the tea of the day is. And look, I'm just on one today. My back is in a lot of pain. So I'm just cranky today. I'm Oscar the Grouch today. Okay? So,
I'm sorry.
I hope y'all just buckle yourselves in because you're in for a ride. Because my crankiness is on the overload. I'm like an old black man today, okay?
Who's sitting on the porch just ornery and curmudgeon.
That's the mood for today, okay?
Apocalypse Now and curmudgeonness. All right, y'all.
Yes.
You're on a roll.
So, look, just drink the tea at your discretion if you take a medication, okay? That's all.
That's all she has to say about that, because y'all know the deal.
Right.
So today we got the Red Date Organic Tea Gift Box from Etsy. A soror of mine sent it to me as a thinking of you gift. It was so sweet. And so you can go on Etsy and find them. But in this organic tea box, it offers a personalized greeting card, 3 organic herbal teas, handcrafted biscotti, and various tea accessories as a honey dipper, an infuser, and stuff like that. There's cinnamon sticks, and some have candles, some don't. The teas that I got were spiced apple chai, organic green tea, and common relax. And I got the chocolate salted caramel. So I have not tried them as yet because I finally went to my mailbox yesterday and saw that it was there for like the past 2 weeks. So I'm going to try them this week. But I do love green tea and chai, so I am excited. So check it out. It's a woman-owned company on Etsy, and it's called Red Dates Organic Teas.
And that's good for Women's Month, International Women's Month. Support women's business, sis. Support women-owned businesses.
Yes, please and thank you.
So the tea on the table, all these people except for one.
Right.
There's 4 people that I need to talk to, and 3 of them is just a hot mess, okay?
Fair enough.
So the first one is Daniel Kaluuya. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, he was in Get Out. He was in Judah and the Black Messiah. He actually won an Oscar for that. So I believe so. So, shout out to him. However, he ate the spaghetti and now he is
in the sunken place. Not ate the spaghetti.
And so he has fired his agents, his publicists. He's gotten rid of his whole team and now is managed by a self-professed life coach. Her name is Hair Holiness.
Her? What?
Hair. H-E-I-R. Hair Holiness.
Okay.
And he's gone, y'all. He's gone.
He's in the sunken place.
That's all I can say. His people are worried about him because they feel like she has an undue influence over him, that he's not making the best decisions or choices. Come from? Nobody knows. And she doesn't represent anybody else as far as I can tell. And yeah, he's...
So one client.
Yeah, he's pure. And he was represented by CAA, which if you're in the know, or if you're not in the know, but you understand how Hollywood works, or if you don't understand how Hollywood works, you might have heard this agency. They represent a lot of big name people, okay? They represent a lot of big name people. And so for him to leave that and do what he's doing, it is a bit alarming. Now, I'm not speaking on the woman. She may be a wonderful woman. She may be helping him through some life issues. I don't know. But his people are saying it's concerning. So
they can't even get to him to try to do an intervention.
I think she has him on lock. She doesn't lock down his social media. She's just basically running the show. And I've heard that he's in the latest Jordan Peele movie called Nope with Keke Palmer. And apparently this woman was on set and caused a lot of commotion. People were very uncomfortable with her.
Was she in the movie?
No. She was there as his publicist, agent, whatever, life coach, spiritual advisor, but apparently she caused a lot of ruckus on set.
And this was allowed?
Hey, I mean, it's Hollywood, so it's Holly weird. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure people have seen,
yeah,
you know. I mean, and I'm gonna say this: if somebody came and said Charlie Sheen was doing this, I was like, that's pretty much on brand. Mel Gibson, that's pretty much on brand.
Bingo.
Who else could I pin this to? Trying to think of somebody else that might be a little
eclectic.
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't heard about anybody else really.
Nicolas Cage. That would be pretty much on brand. But then you see where their careers are, and it's like, okay, well, is it really going to hurt them? I don't think so. This, I feel, may have some damaging effects to his career, potentially. But we'll see.
Are we going to see him on Unsung in a couple of years? Is that what we're hearing?
I don't know.
We'll see. Following how all this happens, or biography on A&E.
We'll see.
They still show that?
Yeah, they do. They do.
I hope he gets together. I hope somebody can infiltrate and get him back on track, or get him wherever he needs to be.
If he really is like in the sunken place. If he ain't in the sunken place and has his full faculties with him, and he just made dumb decisions, so that's on him.
Basically.
And I'm going to mind my business. And drink my water.
And stay in your lane.
Mind my business and stay in my lane. Okay? So, next up on the list is Brittany Griner. Griner.
I don't know. Is it Griner?
I think it's Griner. So, she plays professional basketball here in the States with the WNBA. However, because the pay is not equal to the pay that they paid the men in the NBA, a lot of women in the WNBA go overseas to play basketball to kind of supplement their income. So that part, a lot of people were like trying to figure out, because they were like, you make $250,000. What do you mean you need to supplement your income? But people have lifestyles that they live, and they need to afford those lifestyles. And if she wants more money to do whatever it is that she's trying to do, who are we to say that she shouldn't do it? Okay.
I mean, exactly. Because you could say, why does LeBron make $100 million trillion for his lifestyle? Why shouldn't she?
Right.
But you just
facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
And then you're questioning my salary, but you don't question LeBron's.
Facts.
I mean, I don't know if she's that good, but I'm just saying.
Well, people question LeBron's, like, should he be making that much? Should they be making that much? But if the owners are making billions of dollars, why not? Okay?
That part.
That's a
fraction. Because you know the owner's making more if he's making that much.
Right. So that was the first part of it. So she plays for a team, if I'm not mistaken, in Russia.
I think so.
And so then that was another part to this, right? Because people were like, of all places, why would you play in Russia? Especially when you're African American and you're a member of the LGBTQIA community.
Yes.
Okay? So that was the second part of this. The third part of this is apparently, which I don't believe, this is allegedly, but I don't believe it, that she had hashish oil in her bag, and they confiscated it when she got to Russia, and therefore they arrested her and put her in jail. Now, Russia, if you know, is like China. They have state-run and state-owned media, okay? And they could put out whatever they want and make you believe whatever they want. They're big on propaganda, right? That's how you keep people in line. That's how you keep people in check. That's how you keep people staying in their lane, right? You put information out that may or may not be true, but you put out the information you want them to know. So I don't necessarily believe that they caught her with anything in her bag. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say she can't be that stupid to do that. Or if it was in there, it wasn't intentional. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, okay? I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. So, to get caught, she goes to jail. Now she's in jail. They didn't find out. Nobody found out that she was locked up over there for 3 weeks after she had been arrested. So now she's detained in a Russian jail. They cut off her consulate. They're in the middle of a war with Ukraine. Sheila Lee Jackson out here talking about, so we're going to get her back. Sis, I'm going to need you to sit down. Because what we don't want to do is go to war with Russia, okay?
Hello. Thank you, please.
That's not what we want to do, okay?
World War III is not on deck.
No. And I feel sorry for her. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her family. But Russia is known to use people as ploys to instigate shit with countries. And they already are waiting for something to... They ready for Biden to pop off.
Itching.
Right. And so why not take a Brittany Griner? Because why? You know people are going to be up in arms because she's black. The black community is going to be up in arms. The LGBTQI community is going to be up in arms. You have a quote-unquote liberal president who these two things matter for, right? So why not? Why not call us an international shitstorm, right?
Basically.
And they have... The other part to this that people didn't realize is they have like 3 other U.S. citizens detained, and they detained them around the same time.
Wow.
They over there, don't nobody know what's going on. Now, just for the listeners, if you will get ready to travel, stay your ass out of countries that don't want you.
Hello.
There's certain countries that do not like us. They don't like Americans. They don't like black people. They don't like LGBTQIA people. They don't like people with blonde hair, brown hair, green eyes, blue eyes. They don't like you. Stay out of there.
Do your research. And don't try to be new, brand new, and try to explore and get yourself hemmed up.
Hello. And then people were like, well, why would she go? And you know, the tensions with Russia and Ukraine. Half of them people on IG just found out where Ukraine was. First of all. Okay? So stop trying to make it seem like you are some geographical savant. Like you know what's going on internationally, because you don't. Okay? Half these people didn't even know what the hell was going on with Russia and Ukraine, because people don't keep up with stuff like that.
At all.
You trying to keep up with the new TikTok dance. You don't really know what the hell is going on with Russia and China and the partnerships that they had, or that Trump then stole 45 boxes from the National Archives, 15 are missing.
Took it to a Mar-a-Lago.
Y'all don't know all of these things. So stop trying to make it seem like, oh, she should have known. Because half of y'all didn't know. Okay?
Right. Come on now.
But even with that,
so
I pray that she comes back in one piece. Because we know what happened to that boy in China. What was his name? Otto somebody. That boy was... They did all kinds of stuff to that white boy. He came back and didn't he die? He was only alive for like a couple months here, and then he died.
And then he died.
And his family had money.
Money. Like long money.
And whatever they did to that man, I don't think they still found out. I don't think they know to this day.
They're not. The people that were there, and that's it.
So I just pray that she comes back in one piece. Jussie Smollett locked up for what they say is... Basically, he lied and said that a hate crime had occurred on him, and he paid these people to have them kind of kidnap him so that, I don't know, he can get publicity, or maybe he felt his career was getting sold, whatever the case may be. Now, here's my take on the whole thing. Regardless of whether you believe him or not, I don't think that's even an issue at this point, right? I don't care if you believe that happened or if you don't believe that happened. But the fact that this man has now gotten 4 months in jail, that they spent all of this time and resources to convict this man, and then they want to say the fact that you had us spend all of this time and resources. First of all, Chicago, y'all got a murder rate that's out of control. And y'all worried about this man? Y'all murder rate is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's much bigger things happening in Chicago right now than Jussie Smollett. It's much bigger things. And you wanted to make an example of him. Okay, got it. Understood. Gotcha. But do you need to take it to the point where the judge berated him for an hour, talking bad about him, saying he was this and he was that and he was all these things? Like, that's just inappropriate. If you're going to lock him up, lock him up. Send him for 4 months, lock his ass up. But to do all of that is just extra. To spend all these resources on him when, again, Chicago has like literally lost its mind, like Philadelphia. I wish Philadelphia would spend this much time trying to lock up somebody for doing some shit like this, when the murder rate is like Philadelphia on track to become the murder capital of the world at this point.
What's going on?
Oh, they killing everybody. They don't care.
Good Lord. They trying to follow behind Chicago.
Pretty much. Every other day somebody getting murdered. And not just like your typical murders, right? These are like crazy, like you shooting down a pregnant woman 15 times.
What?
Type of craziness. Yes, these are the types of things that are going on in this world. So, do I feel like he should be punished? Yes. But legally speaking, this man has never had a criminal record. So, the fact that you have sent him to 4 months is a little weird. When most people who don't have criminal records, you put them on probation and you send them on their way. I understand you trying to make a point, but Chicago do better because you got a lot more going on than Jussie Smollett, okay? A whole lot more going on.
Okay? In your own backyard.
Yes. And then lastly, it came across yesterday on a few blogs and on the news that Tracy Braxton, the sister of Tony and Tamar and the other sisters, I can't remember their names right now, sorry, but she passed away from esophageal cancer. I think she was 50. It's very sad. She had cancer before 50. And she beat it, but this time it came back and it was stage 4. So it's very aggressive. And she's been battling it quietly, they said, for about a year. So I feel really bad. I've watched that show a few times, and I will say out of all the sisters, she absolutely was my favorite because she just didn't care. She was funny as hell. She just like was shot straight from the hip. She said what she wanted to say. And that was it. Well, most of those sisters are very outspoken, but she always had me laughing. She was hilarious. So I just send a lot of prayers, and I hope that they have get some peace. You know what I'm saying? Because that family has been through a lot, and I just hope that they find some peace and they're surrounded by love and family during this time. And that's about it. So.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break and come back and jump right into our Tea Time segment. And we're back. So, as we said, this topic is called staying in your lane. So there's a proper definition for staying in your lane. The phrase "in your lane" is used as a term of admonishment or advice against those who express thoughts or opinions on a subject about which they are viewed as having insufficient knowledge or ability. That's a proper definition. Now, the urban definition is
the hood definition.
Mind your own business. Stick to what you know and what you're good at. Okay. Okay. I like that definition better myself.
Me too.
So it's on this show we really are concerned about everybody's mental wellness and taking care of yourself and self-care. So staying in your lane is a great tool for to have in your mental health toolbox, which I think some of us need to open up more often. Just saying. I think some of us need to figure out if we even have one to open and do some inventory. So it can be utilized when it comes to warding off comparisons, like on IG, on TikTok, on whatever comparison media platform that we're all on these days. And especially when you're around loved ones who overwhelm you with their own shit storm of problems that you really don't feel you should have to be engaged in.
Right.
And then the key part of staying in your lane is doing your part and only your part. So paradoxically, more may leave you with less. So consider this situation. You complete assigned tasks on a shared work project, right? Ahead of schedule, which we know some folks do, and without discussing it with your team, take charge of somebody else's work assigned to their special skill set for whatever reason. So that's a line step in there. Why are you going taking someone else's work? You don't know. That's just not appropriate. And then also it can, not staying in your lane can cause you undue anxiety. Just why would you want that extraness in your life?
Yes.
Like, I don't understand. Like, why would you care? I mean, kind of like what Z just said about Miss Braxton. She just didn't care. She's like, oh, okay, do what you got to do. And sometimes some people are just way too involved in other people's business that has nothing to do with them, not paying their bills, but it can cause anxiety, low self-esteem, feelings of inadequacy, and definitely lead to the mental health challenge of depression.
Absolutely.
So here are some 5. Yeah, exactly. So we have 5 reasons of why staying in your lane is beneficial to your mental health.
Yeah, so we have those 5 reasons. And before we get into those 5 reasons, though, I did want to talk about staying in your lane in a very broad context, right? Because it runs the gamut of a lot of things. So there are situations in child rearing, right, where people don't necessarily stay in their lane. And you don't stay in your lane because of what? You think you're an expert on child rearing because you had a child? Now, there's things called giving advice, solicited advice, but to just be in somebody's business and say, oh, you breastfeeding? I can't have my child attached to my titty all day. Oh,
yes.
You're bottom feeding with formula? That's not good because da-da-da-da-da. You don't know what that woman went through. For example, me. My milk never came in fully because I had Charlie so early. And it wasn't until I went to a lactation specialist and talked to a lactation nurse and I told her, everything that happened. She said that your body didn't get to the point where it understood it needed to produce because you were so early. So it never triggered because labor sometimes triggers it, or just being at a certain time in your pregnancy can sometimes trigger the milk production. And let me tell you, I tried everything. I ate oatmeal to the point where I was like, if I eat another bowl of oatmeal, I swear to God, I I had lactation cookies. I paid out of pocket because they didn't have, I forgot, I don't think my insurance covered lactation specialist. I had to go to a lactation specialist. I had pumps. I would get up at the crack butt of dawn and I would pump constantly. My milk just never fully came in. Mind your business. Everything, just because you see somebody doing something doesn't mean that you need to interject. And it doesn't mean that just because they're doing that's like, it wasn't good for you, doesn't mean that that's not what's good for them. You know what I mean? Disposable or cloth diapers. Or, the disposable or cloth diapers. Some people are very in tune to what's going on in the Mother Earth and like, I can only use cloth diapers. That's not my ministry, okay?
Right. If you want to wash them, knock yourself out. I mean, back in the day, that's what, was used, but nowadays they're disposable.
And hello, good morning. Co-sleeping or the crib. Do what's best for you and your family. People, like I said, people tend to want to interject, and usually with child rearing, it tends to be family members who feel like, well, I've had my child. Yeah, but your child is 48 years old.
Right. A lot of things may have changed.
Right. This is a newborn life. What are we talking about here? What are we doing?
That part. I will say, with the line of child rearing is also those who may or may not have children. Do not go and ask a woman who may have just got engaged or married or what have you. So y'all having kids? Can we walk down the aisle first? I just don't think that's appropriate. Or just asking, asking if do you have kids is, I get it for conversation pieces, but at the same time, or let me rephrase that. Why don't you have kids? Do you have kids is an okay question, but why don't you have kids? I don't think it's always the best question.
Or if you have one, when you having another.
Yes, that. And then, well, you should have kids. And that's happened to me a number of times. Like, oh, why don't you have kids? Oh, you'd be such a good mom. And, well, you're young enough. And I'm like, I'm good. But no. And then you keep pushing. You know what, ma'am? I can't have children and my womb fell out. What do you want me to say? Like, that's just not appropriate.
It's not appropriate.
It is so not appropriate. Because I think if you say, so when you having kids, I'm going to be like, when you losing them 50 pounds. But that's just me. Because you was out of your lane and I'm driving all the way into yours.
Hello, good morning.
Just saying.
But those are facts.
Without a turn signal.
Those are facts. And those are all facts. The example you gave at work. We co-workers, right? Mm-hmm. Why are you talking to me like you the boss? Because the last I checked, you in the cubicle just like me.
That part. I'm sorry. Are you the manager? Because I'm sure if Karen was calling, she would not call you as the manager. Because you sit in a cubicle next to me.
I remember when I remember when I was working and somebody said some slick shit to me. And I just had to take a beat and say, you know what, I could, and this was when I first started working, so I wasn't fully the reforms Reefa you see today. I still popped off a little bit. And this is, I think, the turning point, because she said something about, she said something like, when am I going to have kids? Like, when do you plan on having children? Because something about my eggs drying up.
What?
Yeah.
Bitch, what?
Yeah, she always has something to say. One time I had on a skirt, and she was like, you know, your skirt is supposed to be below the knee, not above the knee. And she had a fupa, and I wanted to be like, your stomach should be above the crotch, not below the crotch. Mind your business, bitch. But I digress. I'm just saying, work is one of those places where a lot of people do try to not stay in their lane. And,
right.
You know, I would say even work, if we take it a step further and we're talking about entrepreneurs, right? Everybody's not made to work a 9 to 5, but everybody's not made to be the boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might see people on Instagram doing it big, but you don't know the work that they have to do behind the scenes to get to where they're going. So you think because you saw it, now you can do it too. And I'm not saying I'm not saying it because, you know, you want to start a candle line. Everybody has their own candle line. Celebrities have their own candle line. So everybody has skincare products now, right? So you don't have to stay in a particular lane. But you just have to make sure that if you're going to do that the lane that you're in actually works for you, and you're not trying to model your lane off of somebody else. Because that is a success for failure, right? There's this woman I followed. She's a single mother. She started making lipstick. She put herself through law school. She was doing it and you're like, wow, she could do it, but you don't know how hard it is to do that. Or if you're not somebody disciplined enough, you may think you can jump out here and do the same thing and fail miserably.
Yes, because you don't realize the amount of discipline.
Right. You don't. And that's all I'm saying. Like, you can pick a lane. So if you want to do skincare, that is a lane. But within that lane, you got to figure out, that's a highway. Let me rephrase. Doing skincare is the highway. But what lane are you going to be in? That's the question. Because everybody can't be in the same lane.
Right. And you need to know when to get off. Like, if you need to stop at lip balms, get off at the lip balm exit. Okay? But if you have the capacity to have a whole skincare line, then you go on and take 95.
Right.
Go on and take 95 all the way up and down.
South. Go ahead.
All right, all the way south.
Just pure. But I've seen that, like, at work, there are people who just don't know how to, just bringing it back to the office setting. There are people, and of course, a lot of us haven't dealt with it lately, probably because we haven't been in an office setting for 2 years, but people will still try it on Zoom. Why your camera ain't on? Bitch, why's yours? Mind your business.
I'm preserving my mental health.
Right.
Okay, and yours, because y'all don't need to see this.
Well, you don't really need to take off because you're working from home. How you clocking my PCO?
Oh, no. How about that?
What you need to take off for a whole day? You can, no. I've literally heard people have conversations on Zoom. Yes. Just because people sometimes act like I ain't even there. And I'm fine with that. Right? They'll just be talking. And I remember I heard somebody say, yeah. And like, she said she had a doctor's appointment at 10. So why can't you come back? I mean, you're at work, you're working from home. I can see if we were in the office. Because maybe that person didn't want to come back and deal with your stupid ass.
That part. And why are you worried about where I'm going and where?
Right.
That is not affecting your paycheck.
No.
Just know that I'm out of the office at a doctor's appointment, bitch. And mind your business.
Hello, good morning.
I'm just saying.
Relationships. People, this is one of the things I've learned. sometimes you just gotta stay in your lane when it comes to talking to your friends about their relationships, and I'm talking about friendships. Just sometimes you just need to mind your business, stay in your lane, tend to your garden, because sometimes that is nothing but trouble. You don't tell nobody to leave, don't tell nobody to stay, don't tell nobody to do shit.
But do what makes you happy.
Hello.
Sometimes.
Yes, like, if you like it, I love it.
Unless there's some danger involved.
Okay, that part.
That caveat.
Yes.
That's all. But yeah.
But relationships are definitely an area where getting out your lane happens more frequently than not. Politics, another area. Like, just don't talk about it. Period. Like, if you know you're around a lot of people who don't have the same ideology as you just keep your mouth shut.
Be quiet. Smile and nod.
Because that's a world full of trouble. Just mind your business.
Some people can't, though. They're just, like, compelled to speak. Well, it's like verbal diarrhea, and then they get mad while people defend their own views, and then it's like, it can break up families. Just be quiet sometimes. The repercussions I don't think, warrant the interest or the desire to interject in certain things.
Religion is another area where a lot of people like to come out their lane. Like, why are you worried about what I'm doing? What my religion is? Why are you worried about it? Why are you judging me? You supposed to be a Christian, but you over here talking about when the last time you been to church.
Why do you care? God knows my heart.
Right.
And I will always be a soldier for the Lord. So me and my army with God are going to mind my business. Okay. You may be infantry. I may be the general. Mind your business.
Right. You don't know what my spirituality is.
Thank you.
Telling me don't do something, don't drink, but you over there gambling.
Right. Boop, boop. Among other things.
Right. Sin is a sin. A sin is a sin is a sin.
Just because I sin different than you, don't make it less of a sin.
But people like to get out their lane. Like, why are you... and I think this is the problem with the world today. Nobody wants to... I mean, sometimes it is beneficial to have to jump out your lane, because sometimes you have to step out of your lane to save somebody else. But for the most part, think about it. You're driving down the highway. If you're not paying attention to what's going around you and you jump into somebody else's lane, you causing a whole bunch of confusion, accidents, just a whole bunch of unnecessary trauma.
Right,
what?
Looking like the Beltway.
Right, because
at any given time
that you needed to jump over here instead of staying right there.
Thank you.
Sexual orientation, sexual activity, sexual proclivity. That is another area people don't like to stay in their lane. And then financial status and situations. Like, why are you worried about how much money I got in my pocket?
That is I just got to ask you, Z, because I don't understand how some people feel like it's okay to ask how much you make, how much this thing is, how much you pay. I mean, unless we're having some sort of business conversation because you're looking to invest or you're shopping for a car, Google that shit. But don't Google me for how much I'm making.
Google me, bitch.
Google me, bitch. Don't Google me.
I don't know. It's just like, I think people just don't understand. I don't know. I just don't think people understand that there are a lot of things that are just inappropriate.
Yeah.
That you just shouldn't, like, because staying in your lane ultimately is minding your business.
Yes.
Minding the business that pays you. So how about we all just do that? Like, Instagram is a cesspool of people staying in other people's lanes. Everybody got an opinion on somebody else. Well, you could literally just look at the story and scroll. You don't agree with that, scroll. I don't agree with that, scroll. Why do you have to stop, go into the comments, read everything people say, and then make your own opinionated statement?
Thank you.
On somebody that you don't even know. On a situation that you don't even have the full story on.
Nope. And people get heated in those comments about not staying in your lane and what's appropriate and all this other stuff and getting people's pressures up. And why? Right. Just why?
And, one of the key things, too, I think we need to point out is a lot of times people think that because they're being empathetic, or because they're being nice, or because they're coming to you in a what they consider a genuine concern, that they still aren't violating.
That is so true. That is a really key point there, because folks really don't think they're being overreaching,
no,
or intrusive,
no,
because of their tone or approach,
right. And just because you said it with a nice, sweet tang, you know what I mean, like twang, like, oh baby, when you having another baby? That's still violating.
Yes, it is.
You still in my lane? Why are you worried about what's going on over here?
Yes. Or, how you afford that? I didn't know you made that much. When you get that? I didn't know you see you driving that new. Okay, well, good for you. I'm glad I'm on your timeline. Keep it moving. Okay.
And again, some people, I feel like, but there are areas, like you said, like when you can speak up. And I feel like if you see somebody's in danger, or if you see somebody doing something that isn't very helpful or beneficial, like, here's my thing. If I see something that I think is not right, and then you're my friend, I may come to you and be like, hey, I don't know if you really want to do that, because that don't seem like that the best idea. And if you be like, oh, I got this, all right, good. I'm done. And you'll never hear me say shit else again. I'm like, okay, gotcha. I'm staying in my lane.
Right. But I think that goes to, if you're asking, if you want advice or any feedback kind of conversation, if you guys have that type of relationship.
Oh yeah, but we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that part. But you said earlier about having a mental wellness toolbox. So let's get into that. Like, how staying in your lane can be very beneficial for your mental health.
Right. So like what we said, of us putting out energy for other things that don't concern us, it helps us save our energy if we do not. If we do stay in our lane, rather. It allows us to focus on our own priorities that actually affects us and actually may pay us, not other people's business that has nothing to do with our paycheck. It prompts other people to stay in their lane. So if you have clear, delineated spaces, lines within your that are very visible to your circle, they know like, oh, well, she like this, so we're not even gonna try to talk to her about that. So it's just, I'm gonna stay over here because you doing too much over there. It's just, it reduces the expending of your own energy for something that doesn't concern you. And it improves the relationship with yourself because you get to focus on what you need to do. Me, myself, and I. Just like Beyonce said.
Hello.
That's who you need to be concerned with. And improving your relationship with others, because there's boundaries and you understand what is a talking point, what is not a talking point, how to maybe engage on something that may be a concern, or step back and wash your hands of it, like Zarifa said. And that may improve your relationship with your friends, because they may come to you for help later with it because you didn't overstep, and you may be able to be somewhat more helpful in those situations. But if they didn't ask you, just go over there and mind your business. Just stay there and don't delve into other people's stuff, because it could get messy. And who wants to deal with mess?
Exactly. And I'll say this. Minding your business, staying in your lane is actually a very plain way of saying setting boundaries, right? And so when we're talking about setting boundaries, and how do we find the ways to stay in our lane? Because there may be some of us who are like, oh, I didn't know, I think I am somebody who likes to be in other people's lanes all the time.
Yeah,
or
that's true.
Maybe you have been doing a very good job, but you want to stay in your lane because you don't want to have these issues arise. So what do? Ask first, right? One of the key things I've learned, right? I've learned this in my friendships, my relationships, family. Do you want my opinion, or do you just want me to listen?
Say it again.
Do you want my opinion, or do you just want me to listen? Because sometimes people are coming to you not to hear what you think they should do in that situation, or what you would do in that situation. They just need to be a sounding board, have a sounding board, somebody they can just dump the information to and just let it out.
Right.
They're like Moesha with her diary. Right? Just like Moesha.
I didn't watch Moesha.
Oh, Lord.
I know, Black Heart Revoked. It's all over. I get it. Moving on.
But Moesha, at the end of every episode, she would write in her diary, right?
Oh, okay.
That's what some people like. They just like to tell other people and say, hey, I want your opinion in this.
Mm-hmm.
I just need you to listen. And I think if we did that more often in our conversations with people, we probably would save 99% of the aggravation, headaches, arguments. Because literally some people don't want your advice. Yeah,
because historically it may be sucky advice.
Right.
But still.
Because again, your lane is your lane. My lane is my lane. Mm-hmm. And what works for you may not work for me.
That part.
Right? So then keep it all into perspective. Keep it all in perspective. And what we mean by that is what may be a boundary for you may not be a boundary for somebody else, right?
Correct.
So you have to understand that and respect that. You may not care if somebody asks you, how you can afford things.
Right. But not everybody like that.
Not everybody's like that. Or you might not mind if somebody asks, when you're having more children. But everybody's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to keep that in mind when you're having these conversations. And once you know that this is that person's boundary, it is your job at that point to stay in your lane.
Your job to stay in your lane.
It's your job.
Ooh, that's a word.
So just know that. Be true to yourself. Now, this is if you're somebody who, if people keep coming into your lane, okay? If you fear repercussions of stating directly how you feel about someone not respecting your boundaries, don't give in to them just to keep the peace.
That's a good one.
A lot of y'all let people get in your lane because you fear what may happen if you have that conversation with them. Any conversation you fear is a conversation worth having.
That is a good topic. Because that's so many layers to that one. So many off-ramps.
Yeah.
On how to even engage.
Because there's a lot of people like, well, I was doing this and then they came and they told me I should do it this way, so I follow their advice. Or classic, your ministry is not throwing baby showers, hosting baby showers. That's not your ministry. But you step out there,
right,
and decided to do that.
So what happened?
That's not your lane. Why are you in it? Or somebody else is hosting a baby shower. You decide you want to jump in, and now you can't afford half the stuff that you're trying to do because you done got out your lane and jumped into somebody else's.
You got grandiose plans and can't afford it. Trying to do things. No. Have several seats in your lane.
That's what I'm saying.
Several seats in your lane.
Right? And if you're somebody does that to you all the time, don't fear. Because if you're telling that person this, crossing your boundaries, and they get mad, then they're not somebody you want to associate yourself with anyway. Right?
Right.
Practice what you preach. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Respect is a two-way street. So you can't tell me to stay in my lane, but you constantly making right-hand turns into mine.
Without a turn signal. Just coasting over.
Right. I'm a grown-ass woman. Why are you over here telling me how I need to run my household? I got this. Just sit down. Have a seat. You want to tell me how to raise my child? Well, did you do a very good job of choice? Because
it's a little suspect right now.
Wilding out in these streets.
Off the chain.
Your child is a menace. So come on.
Ooh, yes. Or also, I would think this is one with the married and single people giving advice on certain things that they know nothing about. In the sense that when we all girlfriends and dating, for instance, we're quick to be like, leave that dude, he don't need you, da 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 da. Okay, y'all ain't married, whatever. But once you get married, your single girlfriend advice will not translate to married people advice.
No.
And vice versa. It's just, I mean, you were once single in that reign, but just stay out of married people business if you're single.
Trust me.
It's just better.
It's better for everybody.
That's a whole word on multiple levels.
And there are things that you could potentially speak on, right? Because respect is universal.
Agreed.
Abuse, that's a universal thing. I feel like if somebody's getting abused, you can have a conversation with them about what your concerns are for them being in that relationship. But that's about all you can do. You can't force people to, like we said with relationships, leave or stay. You can't force anybody to do anything that they're not willing or ready to do. You have to accept people as they are. You got to meet people where they're at. Right? You can decide to be a positive influence and encourage people on their path, but you can't fix anyone other than yourself. So yeah, you might see somebody doing something that you don't think necessarily agree with, but it's not your job to have that conversation with them a lot of times, right? Like, and that's different. Like if you have a child, you know, you are supposed to impart wisdom on your children, but your children are still who they are. They're going to do what they want to do.
Individuals.
They are. So sometimes you got to meet people where they're at. And just say, I'm just meeting them where they're at. Because I can't fix them. You know what I mean? I can't worry about them.
And it's not my job to fix them. I can try, but no, I don't even say that. Let me ask that. Don't say I'm going to try to fix them because you can't.
No, you cannot.
But your intention may be to help them see things to help fix themselves. But if they're not ready, like Z said,
they're not ready. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, Lord. I ain't get no sleep. I'm yawning in the mic. Oh, Lord, this is...
It's all right. So you can take a nap after this.
Shit. But this 4-year-old lets me.
Yeah, that part.
She let me. Don't form unnecessary opinions. Like, ask yourself, do I need to have an opinion on this? The simple question can save you a lot of grief in the long run. Because you could be listening to somebody and you're about to interject something like, do I really need to have an opinion on this? I don't.
That is a
Let me mind my business.
Sometimes that's a skill.
It is.
Because some folks cannot help but, like, literally, they
can't.
They cannot. They're compelled.
I do that a lot. I'll have people talking to me. I'll be like, I'm about to say something. I'll check myself quick. I'm like, do I need to have an opinion on this? No, I do not. Mind your business. Keep going. Like, I do that because, and sometimes once you open that Pandora's box,
there's no closing it. You're down a whole rabbit hole. No. And now you are forever tied to that conversation in their mind. And now you are sitting there like, shit, I should have kept my mouth shut.
Hello.
I should have minded my business.
Right.
And how's this going to affect my life?
Hello. Yes.
Today.
Question your own emotions. And I feel like this is a lot, right? Sometimes you get triggered. Like you may see something on Instagram and you see this woman who is like getting it, right? She's getting to the bag, as these young folks say. You know, she has she has, you know, a lot going on. She's an entrepreneur, you know what I mean? She is driving a fancy car. She lives in a big house. She's doing a lot of things, right? And that may make you feel inadequate in some way. So then you jump out there and start trying to do the same thing she's doing, and you fall short. Now you're even 10 steps further behind than you were before. All because you let some emotion trigger you to think you could do something that somebody else does. And sometimes that emotion is low self-esteem. Like you have low self-esteem. You haven't identified that yet. Because you're not happy with where you are and feel like you need to be somewhere else because somebody told you that you're not enough. If you go on Instagram, there are people on there that are going to tell you you have as many hours of the day as Beyonce. You do, but you don't have Beyonce's resources. You ain't got Beyonce's money. You ain't got Beyonce's husband. You ain't got Beyonce's mama.
Right.
You ain't got her names.
Plural.
Or her singing voice. Ooh, so yeah, we all have the same amount of hours in the day, But the resources we have are going to limit what we're able to do with all of those hours in the day.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Right? Sometimes we step out of our lane because there's an emotional impulse that is telling us we need to. Stop that. Stop that. Don't do that to yourself. You're setting yourself up.
Yeah.
Right?
Adding to mental anguish and to possible depression, which is doesn't even need to go down that lane.
Right.
For yourself.
Hello. And
self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted. And the last thing is, nobody asked you. Who asked you?
Who asked you?
Nobody asked you. So why are you speaking up? Why are you talking? Why are you interjecting? Why are you adding 2 cents?
Who told you can sit with us and talk? Because I didn't ask you to. Mind your business.
Just mind yours. And I feel like, again, this is definitely something that is really an issue, or taking an issue, being how can I put this? I'm definitely seeing more and more of this because of social media. Social media has people really out here thinking that they need to comment on everything. They need to give their opinion on everything. They need to do exactly what everybody else is doing because that's how you get ahead. I want us to go back to 1994 when we didn't even have this technology. I don't know how. I still to this day don't know how when we were in college we found each other.
Yes.
But we did. We were resourceful.
We were, but we also had conversation in audix, so we could check our messages if someone called us, so we could find each other. Nowadays, you just have your phone; you don't even talk to nobody.
Right. I mean, honestly, I feel like staying in your lane has become more of a problem because we have access to too much information about other people.
Good point. We
have too much information about other people,
and we don't even know if it's factual half the time.
For example, the other day I was looking on Instagram and this influencer, I put that in quotes, showed this video of her son. He was sitting in the back seat. He did not have on a car seat. He was not in a car seat. He was not in a booster seat. He was like 4 or 5 years old. He just was sitting in the back of a car and she clearly was driving and he just had a regular seatbelt on. Now, everybody's up in arms. She's talking, not even thinking that I put this on here. Right. And now people are going to have something to say. She's putting it on there because she says, I created a little monster because he was talking about, I don't want to be in this car. I want to be in a Lambo. And people's like, he probably want to be in a Lambo because he knows it's safer because that's where his car seat is.
Because his car seat is in the Lambo.
Now, is that dangerous? Yes. Should she not have her child in a booster or car seat? No, she should have that boy in a safety device. Is it my business? No. Because if something happened, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But because we have access to everybody's life, we feel compelled to tell people what they're doing wrong, what they're not doing enough of, how they not really living life the way they should be.
You ain't doing right. That's a lot because people are not satisfied with what they're doing. So they look to other people's lives and lanes to enter.
Right.
Hence why folks get so up in arms about celebrities when they do shit, because you live vicariously through what you see them doing, even though you don't know these people at all. But you feel, and people are so adamant and passionate about people, like you said, they don't know. And why are you in the lane? Because they don't even know you on the highway.
Right. They don't. They don't.
You're not even in the same state. Like, it's just...
You are 95, but you ain't... I'm in Pennsylvania, and you in Georgia.
Exactly. Not even... Just, yeah.
So we hope we've imparted some wisdom on you all about how to stay in your lane, how staying in your lane can benefit your mental health and well-being, and, some places where people tend to be habitual line steppers and cross the lane on, multiple occasions. So we're going to take a quick break and come back with our last for the day. And we are back. This is the last sip of tea with your Hood Dalai Lama. I am your Hood Dalai Lama. Unless you're prepared to deal with the aftermath, never invite yourself to a situation where your presence is not requested or welcome. Don't pull out a chair at someone else's table, then turn around and be hurt when you feel unwelcome. And that quote is attributed to Terry O'Neill.
That was a good one. I like that.
I know. Right?
So, thank you all for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. As you know, you can follow us on IG at Sippin' Tea _Nat and Z _pod, and on Facebook at Sippin' Tea, Nat and Z, to get information on upcoming podcast topics, guests, and news. Thanks for listening, and catch us on our next episode where we get into DIY on a budget. Hello, HGTV people. Have a great week, y'all.